Hey, everybody, welcome to the Burnt Water Podcast. My name is Nicholas. I am going to be your host, the host with the most. Not that I'm trying to boast, but thanks for being here. It has been a crazy week. We just came off the Van Eerden Food Show yesterday. I spent the day in Grand Rapids trying some very tasty new items, and then I got a couple cold drinks after, so it was a really good day. It's a long drive. So we're on the most like almost eastern part of Michigan. We're not quite to the thumb, but we're nearly there. And the food show's in Grand Rapids, which is all the way on the other side. And Michigan's not a huge state, but it was a solid 2 hour drive away. And by the time we got there, it was a beautiful day. It's warm. It wasn't terribly hot, nice and breezy, but it was very, very nice outside, and it was dry. So, and this year, dry is a plus because we've had a very wet year. So we went, we had a good time. My rep is required for his vendors that say they're gonna come have to come. Like he's got to get us marked out and stuff. And I'm not sure how particular the bigwigs are about it, but he was pretty adamant that I show up. So we went there, and they said we had a good time, and it was like kind of like the last cool food thing that we were doing. I mean, we have weddings and stuff, and those are always their own level of wonderful and greatness. But as far as like going out and networking with other chefs and other companies and stuff like that, we don't get to rub elbows with a lot of other individuals in our industry very often. So it's nice to go to those food shows and kind of chit chat with people and kind of network and get to know them and see what they offer and what they do. And I met a company that they just do charcuterie boards. They just do all sizes, personal all the way up to huge ones. So I thought that was really interesting. It's a unique niche in our market that has become huge. It's blowing up all over. It's becoming the newest, biggest thing. I mean, charcuterie boards have always been, like popular per se, but never been so easily accessible. It was one of those things where people made art out of meat and cheese and fruit, and you're like, oh, that looks amazing. I'd love to have one, but no one ever really, give it a shot to see how simple it really is. And it really is simple. You could do it with some very basic ingredients in a little bit of time. You could make some really beautiful stuff. And so it was nice to get out there and meet them and see what they're offering. Got one of their cards, and I might be networking or collabing with them in the future. Maybe want to use them at one of my samplings. We do the charcuterie tables ourselves. We call them grazing tables, but sometimes at a prospective event we may not have the time to do it, and I don't want to contract someone for something that I can't do. I'm not going to sit here and commit to say, hey, this is what we can do, blah, 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 and under the best of circumstances we can. But, once I sign the contract and the bride signs the contract, or the groom or the client or whoever it is, I'm committed to doing it. So it's nice to have someone in the industry that I can look forward to give us a helping hand if we overextend our capabilities, as I am known to do. I tend to have the best of intentions and want to do a lot more than what I physically have time to do on this planet. And I am terrible about it. And I know that I am, but I just don't like telling people no. I like making people happy. I like seeing them light up when I commit to doing something. I love the way that feels, and I hate disappointing people. So it's good to have them. We actually have two thank you cards that came in the mail. We have one from the Benedicts that says thank you for all the amazing food and service, and one from the Dowins that says thank you so much for everything you have done for us. You guys are the best humans ever, and we will ever forever be blessed to have you in our lives. The food was amazing. We had so many great compliments. So chef's kiss to you. I hope this made your day perfect. You made our day perfect. Lots of love, the Dowins. Now, I'm not going to lie. The Dowins are employees of mine. They come in and they work weddings and banquets for us every now and then. And they are amazing people. And I was honored to do their food. I was absolutely honored. And it was one of those things where when you love someone, you want to do the best you can for them. And for me, if I love you, the best I can do for you is to serve you. I don't like it when my friends get married and I'm not able to do the food. Not that I think they should use me. I mean, I'll do the food for free. I just want to give something to them that is from me, and that's what I do. Is I do food. I don't know how else to say it. when I worked at a company called Black Forest, there was a man who was my predecessor, so to speak. He was their kitchen manager until he couldn't physically do it anymore. His body was getting old. He was slowing down, and so I was brought in to take over and stuff like that. And him and I got along great. Like he was a really like a straightforward kind of guy. He was a great dude. We got along fantastic, and we got kind of close. And then he had developed cancer later on, and he had passed away, and it was very sad. And when I was asked by the owner if I wanted to the day off or if I wanted to work the wedding, and I said, well, if I want the day off, who's doing the food? And not wedding, sorry, funeral. My God, slip of the tongue. On the funeral, and I said, well, if I have the day off, who's doing the food? He said, well, I hadn't thought of that yet. And I was like, well, all I know how to do is this. So I'm going to do this to honor him. And I'm going to do things the way he showed me how to do things, and the way he wants things done. And that is going to be my gift to him because um, his name was Emerson Lee Owens. We called him Donnie. Some people called him Freight Train, but he was awesome. He was a great man, and I really enjoyed getting to know him. And that's what I have for this world nowadays. I don't know how else to say it. If you're in my life, I will feed you at some point. I bring the food. It's what I do. And I would like to go back to these thank you notes just to say that the one from the Benedict, this came with a rather generous tip for my staff. And we get tips sometimes, and we're always thankful when we do. But sometimes the nature and the amount of the tip is excessive for us. It's not that like I don't think there's a thing as too much money, but I do think there's a point where you get a tip that's large enough to where it makes you kind of evaluate like did I do everything I'm supposed to do? Like this is a lot of money. And we were very, very touched that we received that. And it made us very, very happy. And, one of my people on my staff broke down in tears because she had a bill come due and she didn't have the money. And that tip paid the bill. So she was overcome with emotion over it. And I understand that. And I 100% agree, get it, and I'm appreciative. And I just wanted to say here, thank you from Tasty Bits, from Chef Nick, from all the people that help us make great food for people. Thank you very much for the kindness you've shown our company. And thank you for using us. I mean, that's what we're here for. So next we have this weekend two weddings. Actually, it's tomorrow. There's two on Friday. And I am pretty excited about them. They're going to be relatively simple. They're going to be close. Well, one is close. One's 5 miles away, and the other one is about an hour away. It's not terrible, but it's an enjoyable place to work. So we're going to have a lot of fun. It's going to be real simple, real easy. I am really excited to do it. I get like this in front of every wedding, and when I look at these events and, what we have to do to get ready for them, how simple they're becoming. Not that it's not work, but at some point you get so comfortable with what you're doing and you're, as a mechanic with the same bag of tools, you know how to flex what you got. You know how to work that torque wrench. And so we're gonna do that. I have one at Pine Tree Barn tomorrow and one at Lakeview Banquet Center. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. It's gonna be really enjoyable. And then after that, we're going to have a little bit of downtime for a week. And it's going to be a nice reprieve. The missus is going camping. She loves to go camping. I don't blame her. It's a lot of fun. It's also September, so there's a very good chance it's going to be cold. Very, very cold. But she will survive. I want to take a different tone right now, and I want to touch base on something that just happened yesterday. A political commentator, right wing Republican guy, I guess if you want to say it like that, a religious eccentric personality, Charlie Kirk, was shot and killed while he was at a campus talking to students. I am not going to tell you that I am a huge advocate of a lot of his policies, perspectives, or even him as a person. I don't know anything about him as a person. I know that he was married, had two children, two little children at that. But what I want to talk about is the enigmatic, electric, visceral reaction that this has pulled out of people of all social walks of life. Um, there's a lot of people on my personal Facebook. I have a lot. Just in terms of my friends, a few thousand, maybe four, and then I've got 30 or so thousand followers. So when I go through my news feed, it tends to be a hodgepodge of good and bad. There's a little bit of everything all over it. And we're entitled to feel the way we feel. We have free speech, and it's a blessing and a curse. And I don't really care generally what people have to say. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. I am finding myself overcome with emotion and reactionary and like I don't know. I'm not even able to get my words together. I'm feeling a certain kind of way, and I am trying to figure that out. I am frustrated because I feel the way I do, and I don't understand it. And generally speaking, I always understand the way I feel, but I am angry, and I don't think. I mean, yes, I'm angry that someone killed him. I don't condone the loss of life, especially at a peaceful event. I don't think there's a situation where I do condone the loss of life. I mean, if we're speaking objectively here, I think that humans are important and precious, and if someone's alive, they have something to offer this universe. And any soul lost is a tragic loss, and I don't think that it should ever come down to political violence or personal violence or whatever the motives were. They haven't caught the person. They have no suspects. I don't think that anything is worth taking someone's life. But to go further, to see the amount of people that are happy that he's dead because they disagree with something they seen online one time, I am honestly of the perspective that social media doesn't do anything good for us. It shows us how to be the worst versions of ourselves, and then gives us places to belong when we are embodying that worst version of ourselves. It's not hard to find confirmation bias online, especially when you have a heinous idea. Now, as a human, generally speaking, as a person, when you think or do something really bad, you feel guilty about it. There's a little voice inside the back of your head that says, that's wrong, you shouldn't do this. It makes you feel guilty for feeling the way you do. That's called your conscience. And social media circumvents that. It jumps over it. It takes it away. I know a couple people in my life that I consider very intelligent, very, very intelligent, and they have a tendency to lean a little more left, and that's fine. I'm indifferent to it. I think left and right are just two different wings of the same plane that's going down. They're both terrible. For the most part, I think politics is disgusting. But I think that even them, and myself included, there are lots of times where things get said online that align with my personal beliefs a little more than even I realize sometimes. And so it's easy to just agree with something you hear without looking further into it. And I'm only saying all this because anytime there's a murder or a loss of life, it just tears me up. A couple days ago, there was a young lady that was stabbed to death on a bus. And I don't even know that whole story. I mean, all I know is that I believe she was here as someone seeking asylum from like Ukraine or something. Like she's a young lady. Like she had a whole life ahead of her. There was no reason for what happened to have happened other than in this country, for whatever reason, we have a big issue with reality versus what is real and versus what is ideal. People here, lots of people, sometimes me, have a hard time separating what the reality of a situation is versus what they want it to be. And in both these situations, we have two things existing simultaneously. One, access to a deadly weapon with someone that probably shouldn't have access to any weapons. We have someone like in the stabbing incident who clearly was mentally unhinged. And then in this other situation, whether it be premeditated or an act of pure anger, passion, you know what I mean? Like it's just an act of circumstance, someone's life was taken with a gun. In both situations, access to that deadly tool, that weapon, should have been limited. It shouldn't have been able to happen. And on the flip side, medical treatment in this country, like especially mental treatment, is so hard and expensive to acquire that there are tons of people that are just walking the streets because they don't have proper medical care. Both these situations could have been prevented if those two things didn't exist. Furthermore, the amount of people that complain and whine and throw fits online about things that have nothing to do with them adds to the problem. We have thousands of people showing up at rallies and they're angry about someone's religious views or they're angry about a war or all this stuff. Okay, you're welcome to have your opinion. You're an American. You can feel the way you do, and that's great. However, while we're assembling thousands of people and wasting tons of money, we could just be living our lives and being better people. Taking care of the village around us, our parents, our grandparents, our neighbors, our kids, their friends. You should try to impact the lives around you. You shouldn't swing at something 500 miles away. If you have a local community that depends on you, that's a beautiful thing. It's wonderful to be part of something bigger than yourself. But it's irrelevant. Your work will not matter at all if it's something so big that it's just mob rule. And that's all these are, is mob rule. I think that people forget that humans are emotional and easily swayed when something hits something painful in their heart and then the opposite happens. It's very easy to move people like a school of fish. You get 25 of the most intelligent people in the world who are revered for their intellect and their perspective on things all shift at a dime when someone that they all respect says they should think a certain way. It's very easy to manipulate humans. Very easy. And we see it every day. Some of the most intelligent people that I've ever met are easily swayed. I am emotionally swayed easily. I'm the first one to tell you that things get a visceral reaction out of me, and I have to stop myself from reacting because sometimes it's just easy to react. You feel something, boom, you hammer it out. It doesn't mean it's right or it's okay. And a lot of times our first reaction to things aren't right or okay. Most of our first reactions are generally wrong. Usually they're ignorant and short-sighted or poorly thought out or just uninformed. And it's in those moments where we need to realize that we probably would do ourselves a favor if we just took a second to evaluate the situation and really think about what's going on. And not what's going on inside of us. We could deal with our own emotions at our own time. But what's going on with the rest of the world? If I hear something that hurts me and I react, how is that going to affect everyone else? Is it going to make things worse? Is it going to make things worse for me? Is it going to make things worse for people I love? I don't ever want to be the person that negatively affects the quality of life for those I love based on my emotional instability. I, at times, have made very, very bad mistakes because I overreacted and I gave time to a topic that didn't need it. Sometimes things that happen in life and they're bad and they suck, and all you can really do or should do is just sit by and let it happen. It's like a tornado. You can't stop it. You can get in its way if you want and get blown over and thrown, or you can just get out of its way and pick up the pieces when it's done. It's kind of how I feel about social media right now. I've just got to get out of its way and let the nasty be nasty. And when it comes to people that I love, if I need to talk to them and explain to them, hey, I think this is going too far. I think you're a little misguided on this, as I wish someone would say it to me when I go too far, then I will. But as of right now, I'm sick to my stomach and disgusted by the whole thing. And a young man was killed. A young lady was killed this week. Both of them have shattered lives they left because someone else felt the need to unalive them. And I'm just done. So I'm going to do me. I'm going to stick to my life. I'm going to keep doing weddings and serving people. and trying to positively affect change where I can. Because in this world, in my life, I just want people to know that I love them and that this is how I feel we should live. I don't think for a minute that this is going to get better before it gets worse. I think for sure it's going to get worse, and I just don't want to be a part of the worse. So, we'll see. We'll see. As always, I want everyone here that does hear this to be grateful for something in life. I'm grateful to be alive. I think that if you live through love and gratitude, then you're one step closer to having a better life. So, with that being said, I want everyone to go out there and just live the best day they can. It is 6:45 a.m. on a Thursday morning, September 11th, 911. Always remember, never forget. I love you guys. This is Chef Nick, and I will talk to you later.